be doing chapter 5 of Smartest Kids in the World and How They Got That Way by Amanda Ripley. And my target audience will be Kamimura Sensei. So Amanda Ripley's audience, I think, is going to be a white, most specifically white teachers who are looking for ways to improve their teachings, like in their respective curriculum. And my target audience is, of course, Kamimura Sensei, or the Japanese teacher, because she's a very exceptional sensei or teacher. And I feel that these both are very inextricable, because if teachers know how to teach, there's always room for improvement, you know, especially considering it's from the smartest country. So let's begin. Imagine Aiko goes to school in Finland. When she got there, it was kind of surprisingly depressing. Like, there was no RAM body pillows, there's nothing. It was just like a chalkboard, kind of like Korea. And she was actually about to read The Seven Brothers, but it was in Old Finnish and low-key, or like in, I guess you could say like older Japanese, but like since with like all the Mandarin and everything, but like since she really didn't practice enough for it, the teacher actually gave her a simpler version of the book, mostly like in hiragana, you know, or like modern day Japanese. And that's like pretty sugoi, because even if her school wasn't super high tech, but it's okay because Ram was guiding her spiritually, and she saw like this like stoner kid, and thought he didn't pay it, or like he wouldn't pay attention in class, like, you know how some people, like how some kids do, but he kind of did. Like, he actually like tried. Not even kids here would pay attention to Sensei, like, oh my god. And then Aiko's teacher, Alyssa Liu, was also like very smart, and she had the whole entire process to become a teacher, but like, you know, over here it's a little more easier. And since Norway is like right next to Finland, keep in mind it spends a lot more, like, you know, money, yen, USD, I don't know, but it also performs the same as about US, which is like pretty low, or like bad. Like, it's a warui, basically. Teachers were also required to obtain their master's degree, so I was like, whoa, okay, that's like having to get your master's degree for teaching Nihongo. And in the US, Aiko's teacher was only a teacher because, you know, they wanted to be a football coach, and which is very surprising. And in the end, Finland, I guess you could say, had a lot more common sense. Also, let's not forget about teachers wanting to modernize through higher selective teacher programs. And now, like, at least in Finland, and now teachers like in Finland were trusted due to the selectiveness, so they didn't have to inspect no more. So like, at least I could sleep with a REM body pillow. Okay, and then after that, it's like everyone in the government and teachers collaborated, even with like little disagreements, like, you know, and it didn't need to like test your kids very often, kind of like, you know, how we did the semesters with the CWCA, kind of that thing. And you have to understand that kind of like when spots are limited, it's like a desired spot because it's prestige. Now let's look at a little Rhode Island. I don't know why, but you know, we are. More teachers actually, there was like a lot more teachers than they actually needed. So there's like, oh no, Sensei, no. And the percentage of minority students who wanted to teach like went from 8.8 to like 9.24. So we're still like a pretty low minority. Also also like, you know how like you have to have requirements to play sports in like school? Like in the United States, you actually had more requirements to play college football than to actually become a teacher over here in the US. So I was like, whoa. Wait, I kind of want to go back because I kind of forgot to say this. Here's like something you should keep in mind. You cannot teach what you didn't know. That's like saying, for example, how teachers kind of major here in like education, but do they ever like major or even minor in like their desired subjects, if it makes sense? And yeah, now back to the main character. Kim actually had a free period, like when you have completed classes, I guess, of 70 minutes, but which is kind of like around the same time as they give us for block periods. And she talked to more like, you know, girls like texted on their phones and everything, like, and she actually kind of like asked them, why do you still respect teachers? Why do you still, like, you know, I don't want to say it, Sensei, because you have to be respectful to teachers. And then the students, like the more lenient girls, were kind of like, oh, because we want to get a good education and then we want to go to college. Like, that was the norm, which is not the same over here. And also, she actually met with an exchange student from Finland, and she went to an American high school, and actually, surprisingly, she passed the history exam with an A. So that was like really cool. And the people around her kind of scored like a C on average. And And then she kind of like roasted them. And I was like, oh, like, no. And then she also, like, she was really active, like more active than some of the kids here. And she also saw how like active parents were, like, in events and everything. And then now in this chapter, this basically like glazes Finland. But like the most important part of this chapter is like saying that you cannot teach what you didn't know. Like, this is really important because I want you to imagine Aiko again. Like, teaching us about REM. Like, she knows REM very well. She basically like has a PhD in REM. But if she were to teach about like the Korean War, like, well, good ganbatte on that one. Like, you know, it's like you can't teach what you don't know. Now I kind of leave you with this. What are some reforms that we can accomplish to become a more academically competitive nation? And how will this impact the students who are performing lower than average? Thank you.